Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. We're going to do a quick review of this guy right here. Before we get into it, please like the Facebook page, please subscribe, please follow the Instagram, would be much appreciated. Okay, so this guy, as you can see, it's been a while since I did the unboxing, and I really wanted to heavily test this one. And as you can see, it has been through the ringer. No blade play, up, down, left, or right, still at all. So, still solid, still good to go in that area. This is the Emerson SARK. The main reason I got this, so I do electrical work, so the main reason I got this was for stripping large gauge wire without harming the wire underneath. That's this blunt tip right here. Back fairly flat, and you also got the chisel grind. So that was the goal. The goal was to have something that would be able to cut large gauge wire, anything larger than basically anything larger than 12 gauge wire, like Romex and stuff like that, if you know what I'm talking about. That was what I got this for. Now, before we get into it any further, let's do some size comparisons. Let's see, what do I want to start with? Let's start with let's start with this. This isn't exactly. Just zooms on. Then let's do zooms on. Get this guy out of here. This is your. Let's move this up a little bit. There you go. And let me go get two more other guys here just a second. These guys are going to be a little bit more in the same, actually these are going to be in the same price range. Everything else over there was higher, so there's your 940. As you can tell, very similar handle size, or no, same overall blade size. Same here, similar blade size. Handles are pretty close. The Sharpen actually has a larger handle, but the Sharpen and the SARK has a very similar design. They're meant for hard use. They're meant for work. That's what they're designed for, made for. And so most Emersons, as everybody knows, aren't keen on fit and finish at all. So if you look in there, you can kind of see that they really didn't care about the liner finish at all. Same with here. Things just either not lining up or just not being fully finished. The G10 though is extremely grippy, as everybody knows. There is no worry of this leaving your hand at all. It will eventually tear up a pocket. That's just how that goes. Pocket clip is good. I don't care that it has a lanyard at all, especially this model. Doesn't make any sense for this model to have a lanyard. I mean, obviously, because of the wave feature, you have to have something to grip onto, so I get why this is sticking up as much as it is. That way you can pull it and actually get this to work. Pull it and it opens. That's understandable, so that's why the pocket clip is where it is. So as a design, that makes sense. Some people won't like that because it sticks way up out of the pocket. But for this to be functional, you kind of need that. It is centered. It's hard to tell because it's a chisel grind, so it's gonna look off center, but that's because literally this side is the only side that's actually gonna work on. This is just flat, so it kind of gives a weird illusion. Now it definitely is comfortable in the hand. It is easy to disassemble. You got Phillips heads and a flathead. I mean, that's as simple as it can get. You got all these other ones using Torx and hex heads, but those are definitely less common of any household or any person out there than a Phillips and a flathead. That's the most common, period. But this one is clearly a user on every level. Not only like, obviously that's Emerson have main goal was to make user knives. They're going to be used. They want them to be used. But this particular blade shape is very pointed, kinda, well, not really, but in a way its design is pointed to a specific purpose. It is actually a search and rescue knife. That's what it stands for. It's designed to be able to go like this and cut clothing to get to a wound without hurting the person. So my initial thought was like, okay, will that work for my job? Will that work? And time again, I've used it on doing services, working with large gauge wire, working on meters, working on disconnects, and so many other large equipment, stripping wire. I've only and because the jackets of most wire is a plasticky, rubbery. It doesn't honestly, it doesn't really like dull the edge super quickly. So this I've only sharpened twice, and I use it every day, all the time. I've actually used it for spray foam, and that way I could get up to whatever I was cutting around without damaging it, and I didn't have to worry about damaging the tip. It's also something that's really nice when you're in a meter base and you're trying to strip the wire as far down as you possibly can without damaging your tip. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about damaging the actual equipment because you have no tip to damage the equipment with. No accidental stabbing of different wires. You can't stab any extra wire or any other wires in a panel or meter base or anything like that. You have none of that to worry about, which is the reason why I got this. Now, does it strip the wire? Well, absolutely. I've also used utility knives in the past and other stuff like that for super large gauge wire. And this makes that whole scenario, that whole task shorter, takes less time. It's a breeze, and it's way more comfortable to do that. Pushing up, going straight up, it's effortless actually. Basically just going at the end of the wire and just going straight up, and it just cuts it like a dream. So for the task that I bought it for the reason I got it for, it works great. This is not a knife I can recommend to everybody, mainly because it is very purpose driven. It is nice to have in your collection. But if you're not someone that is regularly needing to cut things like this, then I wouldn't get it. But if you are regularly opening boxes where you don't want the tip to nick or touch anything you're opening, this is actually a good purchase, because you can open up any box, anything you want. You don't have to worry about the tip puncturing anything. You don't have to worry about the tip scraping against whatever you have. It is also a lot safer to hand to people. So if someone needs to open a box and you're not sure how they will handle a knife, you can give them this. Less likely for them to actually cut themselves or injure themselves. And it is definitely a user. You don't have to really worry about it, because it is designed to be basically a heavy duty, durable beater. It's gonna take abuse. It's going to do well with taking abuse. And unlike, let's say, the 940. 940 is a great user, but there's always that one person you don't want to hand even a 942. You don't want them to drop it, you don't want them to mess up that, or you just don't know how they're going to react with the lock. Even the liner, even like a liner lock, like the Untitled. I've given the Untitled to someone, and I've had to always remember to tell them push out. For whatever reason, a liner lock is easier for people to work with. It's easier for them to see that, oh, I need to push that way, like it, for whatever reason. And speaking of liner lock, because you are gripping it really tight and you are pushing into whatever you're cutting, or whether it be stripping wire, or whether it be opening a box or cardboard, person would not cut cardboard with this, because you're gonna run into this not being sharpened. It might catch. It's just that added thing to think about when looking at this. I would recommend this for anybody that needs something that to get safer to cut with, and safer to cut with for the user and someone else that you want to give it to, or for the kind that's in said package. It basically will only cut what you're trying to cut, rather than things it's not supposed to. But because of the liner lock, you can kind of squeeze down. It won't change the lock up at all, and you can just slice through whatever you need to slice through. It is, of course, on washers. Faucet runs, if you can see that. I don't know if you can. Either way, no worries there. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little dark. I don't have my... Let's see if I have my... It's hard to see. But it's solid design. We're not really going to have any issues at all with this guy. One thing is at the beginning, this guy's a little tight, and because of it being pretty aggressive, it definitely will irritate you to unlock this over and over and over. But the reality of it, this is something you take out for a particular task, open it, finish it, put it back. It's not a fidget knife. It's not something you're gonna constantly open up and over and over and over and over. You're gonna take it out, use it, put it back. That's what it is designed for. The handle is nice. It is very comfortable, because that swell kind of goes into your hand. And you also have this little hook, but it's not so hook shaped that it's actually painful. It's just enough to kind of keep it in your hand. Same thing here. It's a nice groove right there to kind of keep it from you going up on the knife, which is the whole purpose, is to be safe and not cut anything you're not supposed to with this knife. And so they designed the handle really well so you're not going to end up cutting yourself. Pocket clip itself is an Emerson pocket clip. It's good. It is very good. It's deep. So you don't have to worry about that. Clips in easily. And of course, as you know, Emerson, because of the G10, it does take a little bit more effort to get out, especially if you're using the wave feature. But once you get it out, you'll have an open knife ready to go. So, and at the very end of all that, I do recommend it overall. But it's not going to be for just anybody. It's going to be for that one person that wants either a safer knife, or they want a knife to strip wire, or they want it to be able to hand it to someone that then they don't have to worry about, oh, are they going to be okay? Are they going to cut themselves? Are they going to this or that? Or is the knife going to be okay? The knife will be fine. Now, I'm trying to remember. Now, one thing to keep in mind for all those people that are very particular about the blade steel, it is 154 cm, which, because this is designed as a user knife, it's designed to use, it's designed to be a beater, is actually a great steel choice. Yes, yes, yes. You hear people screaming from the rooftop, M390 and all this stuff. You don't want M390 for a beater or a user like this. You just don't. Because if you're using it all the time, constantly, and possibly running stuff that like may put a chip in the blade, or the chip in the oh my gosh. Basically, if you just, like, let's say if I was in a meter base and I cut, but then I hit the edge of the meter base somehow, I could put a chip right on the edge. That's what I was going for. And that would be annoying. With 154 cm, it'll put a little divot in it. It'll bend it more than anything else, and it's easy to sharpen that out. Really easy. And that's the whole point about having that steel, is it's tougher, easier to sharpen, and a workhorse of a steel. Yes, you have to sharpen it more often, but it can take abuse better. And that's kind of the point. Yeah, there's other steels. You could do S30V, again, way chippier, doesn't really work. You could use S35VN. Yeah, that's true, but this is still a little bit more catered towards hard use. So that is why they chose the blade steel they did. There is a reason behind it. It may not be your favorite steel. It may not be the most premium steel, but it's the right steel for a hard use knife. Anyways, that is gonna be it for this one. Yes, I do recommend it, but it is definitely more a if this is what you're looking for kind of scenario, if this is one that you could use, or at least would be a good one to hand to other people at your work, or if you want to just make sure you don't cut anything in your boxes that you're opening, go for it. I would totally recommend it. And if you also are an electrician that wants to have a knife to strip large gauge wire to make it easier, this is something I would absolutely recommend. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Please, again, subscribe. Please like the Facebook page. Please follow Instagram. I will see you guys in the next one.